joining me today. Today I'm here to do a quick review and demo on the Kat Von D Shade Light palette for you guys. I mentioned in my last favorites video that this palette is amazing. It literally is my favorite palette in the world right now. Cannot survive without it for so many different reasons. So this thing goes for $46. Let's talk about packaging really quick. It is really nice and thick. It's really sturdy packaging, even though it is just cardboard. It's not metal. It's not anything super fancy. It's very sturdy, and to me that is worth more than any fancy looking packaging, just because you want it to be something you can travel with. You want something that's not easily breakable, and I love that. It's black matte packaging with these nice glossy letters, so it looks expensive. It looks really well done, and I really like that. So as I mentioned to you guys before, this is $46. You get 6 colors in here. So let's get right into it. These are the 6 colors you get. You get basically 3 highlight colors and you get 3 bronzing and contouring colors. What I really like about this palette that I think sets it apart is that even for my skin tone that is darker, in this palette I have a contour color, I have a correcting color, I have a bronzer, and a highlight, which I think is like so big. Like with the Anastasia ones, I felt like in the original contour kit that came out, there were colors that just weren't that great. They didn't have enough of a gray undertone. Everything felt really warm. And for a good contour color, you need a good gray undertone. That is the color of shadows, which is what you are trying to create when you're contouring. So it's a very different product than a bronzer. A bronzer can be warmer or cooler based on your skin tone and what you like, but a contour color for everybody alike should be with a gray undertone. And that is what this color is. This is my absolute favorite contour color. I love this one to death. This is what I used to contour. I used that one to bronze. This is a really deep contour, which I actually have going on today, but I did it in a very light way so you guys can get an idea of how you can build this as well as, not make it look too unnatural. This is a banana type color, as you guys all are kind of familiar with this whole yellow concept to highlight under your eyes. What I love about this is that it is so pigmented, as you guys can see, that it gives you a lot of good coverage. So if you're using a concealer that you think is not that great, it doesn't cover as much, this will give you that extra oomph. Also, what I really like about this particular color too is that I've used a lot of yellow powders under my eye, and some of them really settle in there and make you look like you've aged a lot because it looks so dry and cakey under the eyes. Even powders can get cakey, and that's not what I like. So that's why, for that reason, this color is the biggest winner in here, and I wish they also sold these separately because that color is to die for. You guys can see such a bright highlight, and it's only because of that color. This right here I like to use on the bridge of my nose since it has a little bit of a pink undertone, because yellow is great for under the eyes, but you don't want to use that all over your face for everything. So I like this a lot for the bridge of my nose, and this is a good corrective color, so I use that on the inside of my eye after I correct with my Bobbi Brown concealer, or my Bobbi Brown Dark Peach corrector, because that is a peachy toned as well. So using that on top really helps correct it as well as conceal again, and then I can go over it with whatever I want, but it really does brighten without looking like too much. So overall, I love the packaging. The products are super pigmented because they're not chalky at all. They're super easy to work with, and they blend like a dream. So this is honestly, if I could give this like a 20 out of 10, I really would. This is available at Sephora. I don't think Kat Von D online sells her products, so I don't know where else you can get it, but I bought it at Sephora, and it also does have a brush that you can buy as well, which is a double-sided brush. So one side is a highlighting end, which basically looks like this. The contouring side has a brush like this, which I heard is really great quality, but I have so many brushes I didn't think it was worth buying that for like $30-something. So let's go ahead and get into the demo. I'm going to clip my hair back really quick so you guys can see everything that I'm working on. Okay, so first I'm going to show you guys the pigmentation, just so you guys have an idea. One swipe of this color right here. This is the banana type color. This is this guy right here. So you guys can get an idea. Like, these are super pigmented, and that's what sets this apart in my opinion. I don't feel like any of the other contour and highlight palettes have gotten something that is this highly pigmented. So for my routine, what I go ahead and do and how I like to use it is that I'll use something like this or even a little bit bigger, and I pick up this shade right here as the bronzer. If you guys can see, this is very gray toned. This is kind of a cooler tone. It has yellow to it, and this is warm tone, but it's really dark, so as a bronzer that's not going to work. I'm trying to use this for highlighting, contouring, bronzing, all of that stuff, so I don't have to think about using something else for any of those. So I'm going to pick up that. Can you guys see how much product has come onto this brush? So you have to be sure to tap off some of it, or you will be having and using way too much product. So I like to contour, or I like to bronze the top of my forehead, and then I like to leave these parts empty, pick up a little bit more, and get right into our little contour area. But again, we're bronzing. You want to always bronze before you contour because you have to have those in-between shades. Like your skin color is that medium skin tone compared to what else we're using. Then we're going to have very light areas, we're going to have very dark areas. And bronzing is kind of in between your skin tone and contouring because you want everything to have a shaded effect. So you guys can already kind of see that lightly helps me create an illusion of darkness and a sun-kissed glow. Even for darker people like me, we are darker in certain areas. It doesn't mean that we don't have to use bronzer. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with this color right here to contour. So I like to use this brush right here, this one right here, or this. I'm not going to tell you guys the exact names of everything because I'm just talking about the type of shape of the brush. So if you have a hard time contouring, you should probably go for something a lot smaller like this over something like this. I feel like this is something that if you contour for a very long time, you'll know how to use this, but that's why I'm going to go ahead and show you guys with this. I'm picking up product just in the very tip of the brush. You don't want it to be all the way down here, just the very tip. I'm going to hold the brush out like this, and on the very backs you are pressing very little into your skin. The closer you hold it, the more you're going to be pushing into your skin, and you want to go in very lightly at first. So I'm going to go ahead and use just a little bit. I am figuring out exactly where my cheekbone is. The best way to do that is hold this area and you'll feel your bone. You want it to go right under. So for me, that is right here. I'm going to start right here and draw a diagonal line down, if you guys can see that. If you need to make your little fish face to help, definitely do that. Now the thing is, the farther you draw the line in, the more narrow your face is going to look. So that is a kind of illusion of an older person. You know how they get bonier in this area? That's not what we want. So you don't want to draw it in too far. I'm literally sticking to the outside of my eye. Like it's just in a vertical line right here. So I'm going to go back in, add some more. And right here where you get hollow, like you don't want to be in that area. You want to be above that. Just like that. And I'm going to take a little bit more and just go in here so everything kind of just seamlessly blends in. Same thing for the other side. Okay, so now if you're trying to contour the side of your face, which I suggest this for people whose bone doesn't really come out, so whose jaw is not, you know, a separate shape from your neck, that's a good idea, which sometimes when I gain weight, that's exactly what happens to me, especially on this side. So I'm going to use this and just contour right here to create that shape that sometimes we don't have. You can also go in farther, just like that. So as you can see, this is a much lighter shade up here to bronze than to contour, but you can already kind of see like what a big difference that makes. I'm just doing a light contour. This is not like a super dark contour, but you can keep adding if you need to. And I'm gonna even go ahead with this super dark color and show you guys just a tiny bit so you kind of know. I'm gonna go with a smaller brush than that. Just barely tap this and press this right in here. You guys can kind of see how pigmented this is and how much darker you can get. You guys see that? So if you're going to go in with something so dark, I really would suggest to kind of stick to just this very back area. You don't want to stripe across your face. That's okay to do with cream products, but with powder it's a little bit not quite as forgiving. So we've gone in with our contour. So now for our highlight, I'm going to use this brush right here. I really just like how this picks up product. It's not about the shape, but do get something that fits under your eye really well. So I'm going to go in with this yellow color right here and pick up just a little bit. This is a super pigmented powder, and place this right on top in a sweeping motion. And I like to go all the way back here just because I like my face to look like it is longer here as opposed to just sticking in here. For somebody who has a really wide face, you probably are not going to want someone's eye to go all the way through here, so that way you would have contoured through here. So I'm not doing that for my particular face shape. But look at the difference between this eye and this eye. There's a huge difference. This powder is so pigmented, and I love that. It helps to even like conceal dark circles and stuff like that if you have a concealer that's not as good. Same thing for this eye. And then we have these two colors, this really peachy type of color, and then you have this one right here. So what I like to use this for is that I'll sometimes use this peachy color to correct inside here. This is a really nice bright color for this inner eye area if you are really dark in there, which a lot of women are. So I'll use that over my colored corrector in there to really brighten. This I like to go down the bridge of my nose, and sometimes I also use like a mixture of these two and just sort of get this middle of the forehead area. I have a pretty large forehead though, so I try not to highlight it too much, but if I'm just going for a little bit, I'll just get like right in there. Then I also can use this, and I usually use this color right here, again the one with the gray undertone, to contour my nose. So for that I'm going to move the mirror to the front. You're going to look straight down because what you want is, my nose is wider here, as you guys can see it looks like it is expanding that way, but you want your lines to be straight, otherwise you'll never create the illusion of a straight nose. So using this, I start from the bottom because that's where I want the heaviest contour and a lighter contour up top. Since we've just picked up product, you want to start at the area which is okay to be, you know, darker at. So I'm starting right here and drawing my line upward. And trust me, you don't want to go heavy with this because it will look so fake. So if you feel like it's not there, finish the other line and then come back and see if you need to fix it. Same thing right there. So I literally, as opposed to drawing my line like this, because that's the natural shape of my nose, I had to draw it like that. So completely vertical. I also like to get under my nose right here. And then I can add more if I feel like it hasn't done enough. And then I'll just go in to accentuate it with a mixture of these two and just place this right here. I don't like to accentuate this bulbous part of my nose. I like to place my highlight right up top here. And from far, you can totally see that it has been contoured. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really have been loving this palette, and I wanted to tell you guys this is the best one that I found so far. I've been trying out so many new products for you, and for contouring and highlighting, there's nothing better than this. Also, a quick close-up on my face so you guys can get an idea of what this product really is. Keep in mind that I am a darker skin tone, but I still feel like everybody can benefit from a palette like this, because this kind of color to bronze will honestly work for really light skin tones up to my skin tone, and even a tiny bit darker to bronze. To contour both of these, I mean, you can't really go wrong. Like, this is obviously very dark, so if you're very fair, you'd probably go for this. Also, if you're extremely fair, you'd go for this as your highlight color. So there's honestly something for everybody in here, and there are very different ways in which you can use it, so you can definitely get creative. But I wanted to let you know that I love it. It's my favorite. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Bye.